blessed I am to be in the position that I'm in. You guys did an awesome job at worship. That's why I'm kind of a little choked up right now. Good job. But Brandon today, he said something that just spoke volumes to me, that I've never really thought about it until today, and that's where we're going to start. He said, 1 year from today, you should be more like Christ than you are now. And that really got to me thinking is, am I different? Am I closer to Christ than from a year ago, 5 years ago, when I was in college, when I was in high school? And there's points in those areas where no, I was not growing as a Christian. And thankfully, because of encouragement from others and just with God, I can say that I have been growing so much towards Christ here lately. And it's because of the choices that I've made. And as I was going through this, it just amazes me how important the choices are in our lives. And I'm going to be talking about some big choices that I had to make all the way from high school that has now affected me today. And especially if you have some high school girls, like, they know I'm so passionate about them making good decisions. And that's where, when I'm talking to them, that is normally what we're talking about. And it's because I know the decisions that you guys are making now will affect you. Well, now I'm 11 years out of high school, so I'm old. But 11 years down the road, where I know that a certain decision that I had made back then, if I would have made that decision, I would not have had the support that I needed to go through something that had happened here recently. So we're just going to jump right into it. So freshman year of high school, basketball player, most of you guys know that was a big part of my life, is a big part of my life, huge passion of mine. I love coaching it now, I love being a part of it. But back then, that was me. Like, that was my life. That was my identity. Coming in as a freshman, I made the JV team, the only freshman to make the JV team, and so therefore I was around juniors and seniors. And these juniors and seniors were like my gods. And I mean that literally. Okay? Like, I looked up to these people way more than I should have. And my one goal was to fit in with them. Now, being a freshman on a JV squad, that meant that the people were older than me. Okay? And so therefore I started hanging out with some juniors and I started hanging out with the seniors. And my first goal was for them to understand that I could hang with them on the basketball court, which I couldn't. Okay? And then my second goal with them was to be a part of their group. And that meant being a part of some things that I shouldn't have been. And one of my, there was a girl that I really connected with that was a little older than me, and we hung out. She was a great girl. She wasn't necessarily a Christian, but she wasn't doing bad things, okay? And we connected, and she became my best friend throughout high school. And then we started jumping in as sophomores a little bit deeper into being the popular kids. And next thing I know, I'm being invited to parties that have alcohol and drugs. Boys are becoming a little bit more important. And how my friends were handling boys, I knew that was not the life that I was supposed to have as a Christian. And honestly, I kind of fell into that lifestyle a little bit. I was going to the parties, maybe not necessarily doing the drugs or partaking in the alcohol, but I was there. And I wasn't surrounding myself around Christian friends. I wasn't surrounding myself around people that were encouraging me to be more like Christ. I was not growing towards Christ at all. And then my junior year of high school, this was the big year for basketball for us. We were supposed to do big things. That was like the best chance for us to go win state. So it was a big year, all focused around basketball. And there was a girl, Sara, who wasn't on the basketball team at that time, and she invited me to the youth group. We didn't have this awesome youth group that we do now here. And I went with her. I was just like, yeah, sure, fine. And then I started getting really involved with it, and I was like, man, I really like this. Like, these are awesome people. I'm growing, but it caused conflict because none of my basketball friends were doing that. I all of a sudden started seeing I'm going to have to choose. And the end of my junior year, I made that choice of, okay, I'm going to kind of put the stop on being that popular person. Senior year, all of my friends graduated, so now I was just like a loner. Even the people that accepted me into that youth group, they graduated. Okay, but I was able to make really smart decisions that senior year because I made that choice of putting away popularity, putting away that lifestyle and growing closer to God, which really got me interested into helping others learn about Christ. And I was an outcast at that point because there's not too many people in high school that feel that as their passion. And that was really difficult. So that was one of the very first choices that I had made where it was hard. And then the second choice was freshman year of college, which I'm not going to repeat everything, but basically the same scenario. I was playing basketball freshman year, and I was also an athletic training major. Okay, well, the joke on campus for athletic training majors, and anyone in the medical field, you understand this, it's like a cult. Okay, we literally go everywhere with one another. We are attached to the hips with one another. We have all the same classes. We're in the same building. We live together. Everything. Okay, and that was my group of people, except I also played basketball. And I was the only AT that was playing basketball at the time. And the basketball girls, they were great girls, but they were, again, making choices that I should not be making. And so at the end of freshman year, I made the decision to quit basketball. Like, quit it completely. I went into the coach's office. I will never forget the conversation. And I told her, I'm done. Never thought I would ever make that decision. And it was, I was bawling my eyes out in her room. I will never forget it. But I was able to focus myself around Christian friends. One being my best friend now, her name is Danny. We have been through so many ups and downs since freshman year of college. There are times where I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have such a great Christian friend to encourage me. There's another friend that, her name is Marissa, same thing. Okay, and we were making sure that we were going to church. We were making sure that we were going to small groups, and we were just diving into the Word whenever we could. We were also having fun. We were also able to go and just be college kids. But I guarantee you, if I wouldn't have made those two decisions, I would have ended up very differently. One of my friends in high school, because of a drug deal, she was shot and killed. Another friend of mine, because of the same drug deal, was almost killed. And then I have 3 other ones that were friends in high school who are in drug rehab right now. That could have been me. That's the people I was hanging out with. They were great people. They still are. I mean, they have an amazing story right now. And it's awesome. But if I would have stayed in that scenario, if I would not have went where God wanted me to go, that could have been me. 100%. And the choices that you're making now, they're going to help you later on understand why they were so important. So then I graduate college. When you go, and the ones in the room that have been to a Bible college, they can laugh with me about this. Greenwood Spring, as a girl,
Well,
yes,
MRS.
you're supposed to be married senior year. Like, it is expected of you. That was the last thing on my mind, guys. Like, it was so far from my mind, I was almost embarrassed about it. Okay, but that was what was honestly being preached to us. Senior year of college was, you need to find a guy. Well, that made me run from guys even more. I was like, absolutely not. Like, no way am I ready for that. And so I didn't get engaged, didn't get married or anything like that, just establishing myself in my workplace. And then here at church, you guys all know him. I met a guy named Elliot. And scared the crap out of me. Okay? I met Elliot through doing youth group together, actually. Before we had this whole big youth group, we had something small that we helped with. And I got to know Elliot through that. Then I found out Elliot had 3 little boys. And I was like, no. Okay? I was like, man, this is too much. And my friends at the time who were also leading the youth group, they were like, you guys are hitting it off. Like, you should see. Her name's Kayla Lewis. Some of you know her. She was a big influencer. Like, I think this is a great guy. And I'm like, you understand, first of all, that's like serious. Second of all, that's 3 children. Like, what? But what's cool about it, I've always said that I would adopt. I never wanted, for whatever reason, I don't know why. No clue. Well, it's because God had the plan for me to be married to Elliot. I never wanted to give birth to children. I've always thought I'm going to adopt. I thought I might even be a single parent who's adopting. Okay, and then Elliot walks in my life and he just rocks my world. I'm falling hard for him. And we started getting serious, and the boys started becoming a part of my life, and I'm just falling in love with them and falling in love with Elliot, and I finally just said, okay, we're going to go with it. And it was hard. Relationships are scary. Like, you have to let your guard drop, and then to throw 3 of the most amazing boys into the mix of it, and I'm like, if I mess this up, like, I'm not just messing Elliot up. Like, I'm messing up the world and Jack and Jake. And that scared me. And so I had to really let God, he just kept urging me, go with it, it's gonna be okay. Well, you all know the story. We get married, right? Okay, so happily ever after, you get married, you go on a honeymoon, which is great, and then you come back home, and then you have to move in with one another. Me and Elliot, we didn't live together before marriage. We weren't in a we didn't live together before marriage. And so then we all of a sudden are living together. Now, Elliot, the amazing guy that he is, he was raising 3 boys at this time. Okay, so I want you to understand this. They lived together, okay, which at that point, Jack and Chase are 4, Roland is 6. Okay, so he's been a dad for 6 years. Okay, he's been a dad of 3 for 4 years. I have never been a stepmom. I've never had to help take care of children, really, in that capacity. Elliot, and this is going to sound weird, he knows how to do the dishes properly, he knows how to do the laundry properly, he knows how to feed 3 boys properly, and then I'm coming into play and oh man, I'm going to be that, in my mind, that stepmom, which if you think of a mom, that's someone who takes care of everybody, right? That's pushing buttons for Elliot. And our first 2 years of marriage were hard. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you get back from that honeymoon, it's going to be hard. And you're going to have to learn about each other. You can hear Shane back there, right? And I'm sure why their marriage wasn't hard because of Caleb. Okay? I'm sure.
I mean, come on, baby.
Okay? But we had so many moments where we almost walked away. So many moments. And I'm going to get emotional. And there were people telling us to walk away. People in the church that were saying we would understand. People that I looked up to. And I'm thinking, what? No, you get married once. You don't do that. And there was just something that just an urge in me and in Elliot. We just kept pursuing each other, and we kept pursuing God. And we started going to counseling, and we started really talking about how I can't do the laundry the right way, okay? And he doesn't know how to accept love the right way. And all of a sudden we start talking, and we really start to get to knowing one another, and we figure out the only thing that we had in common, and I'm not kidding you, we did this little thing, a survey, and the only thing that him and I had in common, the only thing we answered the same way, was our faith. That was it. Everything else was different. How we thought the house should be ran, how we thought the money should be handled, everything that you think of in a marriage, we disagreed on. Every single thing, except God should be number 1. And we held on to that. And that was so hard to do, but it's so special now. 5 years, almost 6 years down the road, where we still have arguments. Okay? But we can look back and it feels like that was an eternity that we were in that place together. To where we were fighting for our marriage. Fighting for our boys. And God rewarded us with that because we pursued Him. Then, I thought that's when my world was getting rocked. Well, then I was wrong. 3 years ago, and I've shared this with you guys a lot, my world was really rocked. My dad passed away unexpectedly. And at that point, I never really thought you could lose trust in God. I lost some trust at that point. I remember coming back to church the first time since, which it was the week after my mom, amazing mom. She looks at me and my brother, she goes, I want to go to church. And I'm like, you want to what? No. She's like, no, we're going to church. And I'm thinking, there's no way we're going to do this. What is she talking about? So we go to church. We sang the song tonight. Good, good Father. Jason plays. I got so mad. Because first of all, when I hear the word father, I'm thinking of the dad that I just lost. And this is a week after this has happened. And then, good father. So now I'm saying that God, the one that allowed my dad to die, so that's how I was seeing it. I'm supposed to sing good father. He's not good at that point. And that song still can sometimes be tough for me. And I want you guys to understand, just because we're continuing to make good decisions, life is going to hit you hard. And we are going to have emotional times. And that's okay. And I was so furious with God at that point that my mom was broken, that me and my brother were broken, that I had to go and tell my kids that their grandpa had died. But you know what my kids did? I was so stressed out about telling them. Like, it was one of the first things I looked at Elliot and I said, we have to tell the boys. We picked them up from school early, so they all looked at us and go, what's wrong? They all now know if we pick them up from school, something's not right. So we pick them up early, and we get home. We're in our apartment, and I remember how we were all sitting, and I obviously couldn't get the words together, so Elliot tells them for us, and they come over to me, and they wrap their arms around me, and they say, it's going to be okay. Children are the ones that got me through that. You guys are strong people. And God has put you in people's lives. I guarantee you, when I was born, God knew Roland, Jack, and Chase were going to be my stepkids. They knew Elliot was going to be my husband. And they knew when my world was rocked, when my mom's world was rocked without our dad and her husband, they were going to be the joy. And I guarantee if you ask my mom now, that's what gets her through on a daily basis. There are days where babysitting the boys is what gets her through. Now let's think about this. In high school, if I would have chose basketball and popularity, in college, if I would have chose basketball and popularity, after college, if I would have said no to LA because I was so scared. There's one more, I think. Oh, and if I would have chose not to stay married. When my world was rocked the most, I would not have had those friends there. I would not have had my church family there. I would not have had my husband, who I cannot explain how amazing was through that process, and still is. Would have been there, and my children would not have been there. I guarantee you what I would have done. I would have walked out of the church family, and I would have picked up a bottle of alcohol. Because that's what I wanted to do. But I had women of this church, and I had my friends from college, and I had my husband, and I had children who I knew I still had to be strong for. Because it's weird, when you're going through hard things as a parent, you get a breakdown, but you can't do it for long. You got to pick yourself back up. I can't let Roland, Jack, and Chase pick me up. But I can let the women of my church. I can let the pastors of my church. And if I would have not made those decisions, I would not be standing here right now. I want you to understand, being in junior high and high schoolers, first of all, you are so loved, guys. And you're amazing. You have so much potential. You just have to say, okay. You have to tell God, I'm yours, I'm scared, I'm mad at you. If you're mad at God, let him know it. That's okay. There's some of you in here, I guarantee you are angry with God about some things. But you still pursue him. You still use the people in this room to comfort you, to love you, and to encourage you. Now, on a daily basis, those are big decisions, right? Okay, ones that, I mean, some of you in here, you've dealt with a lot of that stuff already. It's crazy to me. what you guys are doing. And I'm proud that so many of you are still in this room and pursuing God with us. But every single day we have little tiny decisions that we make. And these are the ones that I struggle with. So yesterday, Lene, she did this journaling club thing. You guys all heard about it, Bible journaling? So what I thought this was, I thought we were going, and she was going to teach me how to pick out some scripture to journal about, I guess I don't know what I expected. That's not what we did. We scrapbooked, which if you all know me, well, here, I walked in the room, 3 people came up to me and said, "What are you doing here?" That was their response. Okay, yeah, Mandy being one of them, okay? And I'm like, yeah, I see all this stuff. What are we doing? And that was out of my comfort zone. I mean, I even told Elliot, like, I'm not so sure about this. Like, something just feels a little weird. I just don't know. But I just thought, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to see what it's about. Because journaling, girls, high schoolers, right? Holding ourselves to a higher standard, okay? Doing the things that are out of our comfort zone. I thought, okay, and I'm not kidding you guys, high schooler girls. That's literally what went through my head. I thought, I'm going to do what I'm telling them to do. So thank you. You all encourage me. Okay? And I left that. I'm not going to be Lene by any means and what she does, and that's not my thing. But I was able to organize my Bible that day. But secondly, I left so encouraged just by being around other Christian women. And guys, if your friends are not other Christians, it's going to be a struggle. I'm not saying they have to be perfect people. But you need other people around you that are going to be encouraging. And then the other thing that we talk about a lot, I've been giving the girls goals, 3 is normally our number, but being in the scripture daily. And that's a choice every single day. I come home from work, I'm not getting up at 5 in the morning. Well, that's my first bad choice, I guess, every morning. I don't get up to use scripture. Okay? But then I get home from work. Well, then all of a sudden we have to eat, we have laundry, I like to watch TV, I like my phone. I like to do everything other than read scripture. Okay? Scripture has never been like a fun thing to me. And some days I fail, and I'm like, no, I'm just not doing it today. And then other days I'm like, okay, I told the girls, we at least need to do this 3 times. You guys are having an impact on people in this room, on the friends that are around you. You have to accept it. You have to understand that God is using you and He's loving you so much. And all you have to say is, okay, that doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden become perfect. That doesn't mean that you're going to all of a sudden not make poor decisions. It means that you are loved, you are saved, and you are accepting the fact that God wants to use you. And that's what I want to leave you with, is where are your choices leading you? Are they leading you closer to God, or are they leading you further away from God? In Proverbs 14:12, which, girls, that's your chapter for the week. Proverbs 14. There is a way that seems right to a man, but it ends in the way to death. And what that's saying is, we have a plan, we have a way that we want to do things, our way is going to end in death. It is going to end negatively. The only way that we are going to have a positive ending is when we can look at our life and say, God, use me. Say, I accept you, I love you, we get baptized, and we go. And we don't hold back. You all are loved, and you are so special to this church family, and I want you guys to hang on to that. Let's pray.